everyone, it's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. With us, as you can see, above me is the one and only dial-in from Skill and Luck, and we're here to talk about what's right there, the Skill and Luck Hedge Dark Cross. Now, Skill, I have some haters and I have some takers. It's created a little bit of controversy in the Mac comments. I know that you've been monitoring some of them. Some of them have justification. Others just don't like the Iron Cross itself, let alone from the dark, and other people just don't like the hedge system. Now, this past weekend, when you played against Vince Armendi and you played against Dice Dr. Dan, you were victorious out of the three of them. Those two had very little money left. You didn't make any money, but you lost very little, and you were playing this strategy at a larger level than what we're going to talk about. So with that said, good evening, how are you, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I've got my notes here, but we're going to take it down from, I was playing at a 60 and 75 level, but we're going to take it down to like a 30 and 35. So I think that's best that we can grasp and understand all the concepts, because they apply, they're just doubled. So it's not a super huge big deal. So there's a lot of little different interests, a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things. Like you said, there's the Iron Cross and all the different little nuances that's going to happen. We're going to go over that together, because you've got your way of doing it, which I love, and I want to delve more into that, so I can even we can even incorporate even more different options and subtleties as well. So this is a collaboration slash theory crafting, testing, stuff like that. So we're not we're going to talk about our different options and the whys and some reasoning, and throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks and see what doesn't between us. And so I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun video and a great experiment.
All right, well, what we had talked about offline was that we have to keep the video entertaining, informative, and short enough so that people with short attention spans like myself won't either fast forward or not watch it. So we're going to try to plan the bankroll for at least 4 shooters. So playing it at that level, which is higher than you did on Saturday night, lower than I did in the lower buy-in, what buy-in do you think that would work for this level we're going to play this today?
Well, I wanted to, I think that we should still stick with 1,000, because that way we're, even though we're going lower, it's just safer to have a bigger bankroll, and I haven't really put pen and paper to it, so it'll work itself out in the wash, eventually. But I haven't really put the pen and paper to it. Like I said, I've got some notes, but I don't have everything clad in stone, and that's what this video is about. Is knocking some of the unwarranted stuff off and seeing where we can make the thing run very efficient.
Okay, well, as you see on the table, there is a $1,000 bankroll there, and we'll be switching to this screen here when we get over to the table. So while we're here and we can see each other a little better, why don't you go ahead and just give the explanation as to exactly what it is we're doing, and if you want me to switch to the table, I can. That's one part we didn't talk about, but this is the Hedge Dark Cross, so obviously we're doing the do-we-don't. Most people that have watched the other videos, your video from today, know that, as well as what the Iron Cross is. But let me go ahead and switch over here, and I'll walk over to the table, so we'll be there and we can still hear each other. So now I'm going to be away from you. My picture's not going to be up there. I'm going to be over here at the table, so I'm right here, guys. So go ahead and let's talk about how you want to play this out. We do have a $1,000 bankroll, just to make sure we do. I think this might be one too many blacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we do. So there's 9 blacks, and we have 500 of green is 14, and we have one. I do this all the time. I screw up the starting bankroll. There's 500, and we have 100 in red. So I did have one too many Black's out there. We're taking that off the table. So oh, you said $1,000 bankroll. Whew. What am I talking about? We need to cut this down to 4 blacks. 4 blacks. So I'm taking 5 more off the table. So there's $1,000 bankroll. Well, you had a 15. See, I was going to screw it up right off the start there, Dylan.
Well, you can't fault you for having a bigger bankroll. So.
Well, I wish I could buy in all the time at 1,500. I think you've heard me say I was a $300 buy-in person, and then I went to 4, 5, 6, and now I'm generally a $1,000 buy-in person. And I think the old adage, and many people have said it, if you want to win more, you bring more. But if you're like me, you don't have the bankroll, you gotta play with what you have, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this Hedge Dark Cross and try to make it affordable for somebody that has between a $600 and $1,000 bankroll. We are going to do it at 1,000. So tell me what we're doing.
Okay, so hopefully we can agree to, because this will work a whole lot better on a $10 table than a $15 table, and
yep.
that dramatically, you don't. It's amazing what a $15 table what you'll have to have compared to a $10 table.
Right.
It ups the ante, exponentially. It does, and with that little bit. So I would prefer to do it at a $10 table.
Sure, that's what we'll do. We're going to do a $10 table. So tell me what to do.
Okay, well, I would like to do. Let's start us out with the do we don't, and so I want to do a $30 don't and a 35 pass line.
Okay.
And the
35
reason being and the reason being I picked 30 is because the 30 can be broke down super easy, and it's super easy with the math calculating the odds. And so so I just think going in increments of 30 on the dark side is just advantageous. Then of course the maximum odds is 6 times, so that's pretty easy to calculate.
And I think you make a good point there. It took me the longest time as a new player to realize when I was calculating what kind of odds I wanted to do. $30 works in any side with any math on any odds. And I never read that in a book. I know it's in a couple books, but that's a good point. Tip number 1. There we go. Dylan's tip number 1. Okay, so we have a $30 don't and a $35 pass line.
Okay, so a typical. Then we also have to really discuss what is an iron cross.
Sure,
I know that people really know what an iron cross is, the basics. But to dive more in depth, to me, I want to get your opinion on this, because this is my opinion and it's my strong opinion. But that doesn't mean that it's gospel, and it doesn't mean that because there's variances on everything. But my idea of an iron cross is a $10 field bet, and at a $10 field bet, I believe that the most efficient. Let me put it this way: I believe that the most efficient iron cross or iron crosses go in this ratio, that it's 3x of the place bet of the 6 and 8. So if we're doing $10 on the table on the field, then it's got to be 3x on the 6 and 8, which translates to be $30 on the 6 and 8, and then a quarter on the 5. Now, other people, are at a $10 table think that either 18 or 24 or whatever is acceptable, and sometimes it could be, but to me it's not optimal. It's not the most efficient. Again, to me, the most efficient and making the iron cross fire on all cylinders is that 3x ratio from the field to the place 6 and 8. I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
No, I totally agree with you. The part that because of the table limits, and since COVID, we know that it's hard to find lower buy-in tables. But a $10 table, I would agree with you that it has to be 3 times. And as you were talking about that, I set the table up exactly how you described it. So I think we're in unison on that, and we had not discussed that. I just didn't know if you were going to go 30 on the 5 as well. So I have it set up as, if you look at the table here, I do have a $5, a $10 field, a $25 5, and 30 on the 6 of the 8. So I do agree that it should be 3 times the odds. And I think there's many other great YouTube channels that when they talk about the iron cross, they're in the same philosophy that Three times is probably the right amount. I like to look at my ratio of some of my odds being a quarter of whatever the bet is. And then I do my math from there. We'll get to that in a minute. We won't talk about that. I don't want to confuse anybody. But I'm going to walk back over here to the table, and I do have it set up $10 in the field and your iron cross. So the iron cross basically is this right here. And if we move these bets over, we would then have the cross coming down. I think so. I think we're set up on this minimum on this $1,000 buy-in, and we have to. I think we need to explain to people, because this sort of is hybrid, because what we're going to do with the odds. I mean, a lot of people don't like hybrid play. Hybrid play to me is a money management tool that you can use to preserve a bankroll on a table that either you're new to, or it's choppy, or you're struggling to get anywhere, and you want to play longer. You want to wait for that longer roll to come. You want to go around the table 2 or 3 times, shoot the dice 6 times instead of 3 times, or whatever that may be, at a full table. Okay. So when we take a look at this, we have 85, that's 95. And depending upon the point, obviously, we're going to talk about the odds, and I think you and I may differ on this, but we'll talk about that. But basically, I consider this right here, this 30 and this 35, basically a wash. So the point that makes sense, and I believe it was Clay over at East Coast Craps told me today, because he was one of the ones that asked for it at a lower level. The odds that are here, and I think he put it in one of my comments, he basically says this gives you the ability to place odds, and they're true odds, and it's almost a wash. And I forgot exactly how he worded that. You probably get what I'm trying to say, and you and I didn't discuss that either. So here's the basic setup.
I agree with that. That's the whole key, is that the reason I do Greg from I'm Frankensteining some stuff from 555 Greg, okay, and so on his Andre, he wants to go double the pass line from the don't pass. Now I'm not doing that, because to me that's way too expensive. That's too big of a jump for the don't odds to jump and clear,
right?
Because you have to lay more. Of course, you have to lay more to win. And so why have a bigger obstacle that way when we're wanting to have other action on the right side eventually? Now, with that said, I also want to also say that with a smaller bankroll, you don't have to go to an iron cross immediately. If you can afford it. And what I mean by that is with this 30 and 35, you can go any amount of odds on the dark side greater than the minimum. Okay, and so that will leave. This is leaving the 7 quote unquote strong in any position. Okay, and so right now on this come out roll, the 7 and 11 strong, and the don't pass is weak. All right, so we're making the 7 strong. Okay, and so as soon as the point becomes established, doesn't matter what it is, you can take whatever the point may be. If it's a 4, then you can double that. You can double your odds and go. You can do like 20, or you can do at a $10 table. The minimum would be 20. So you could go, 40. So if you put $40 odds there, you're going to win 20. So now you minus the $5 difference. You have that extra in play that you can do a $10 place bet on the 5. If you can't afford the whole iron cross at this point, and you have limited funds, like for like a $300 bankroll, I'm talking about a $300 bankroll, $600 bankroll, whatever. You can build up to that point where you can still have the 7 strong and get like one place number, and then have action and have some action, or a field bet. You want to have that action, and then have that 1 or 2 on the right side working for you, and then have that 7 still be strong, and still had to make it grow, into what we're talking about eventually. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It absolutely does make sense. Yes.
Okay, I
So,
just want to make sure
uh,
I want to make sure that I'm not rambling and that it's easy to follow.
no, no,
So
not at all. We just
so
rolled
that's
over
the
the
theory.
Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So that's the theory behind the do we don't, is that we're trying to make the seven strong in keeping the quote unquote keeping the odds in our favor. It's one of my favorite sayings that I try to do, and so that we become a conservative, consistent winner. It's not nothing's guaranteed, but we're trying to be a conservative, consistent winner, and so that's my theory. And so instead of doubling it on the pass line, I'm only doing a nickel extra so I can jumpstart those odds on the dark side and make that seven work for me when a point is established. And so
Right.
so I'm making everything work for me in my favor as much as possible for that for the red.
Right. So let me
Okay.
take this down. We just pushed over the 15-minute mark. We probably should get to some rolling. I'm just going to set this over here because none of that would be on, and I didn't want to have money in the field on the roll on the come out.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
basically, we're once again the review. We're 30 on the don't. We're 35 on the pass. We have a do we don't. You explained the reason why very thoroughly just a minute ago. I say we get some rolling out. Maybe we'll get
Yeah.
a couple shooters in. Our goal is to try to
Sure.
get to at least 4 shooters, but we may not get to it right then. So let's go ahead and say the dice are out.
Yep. Yep.
And there's a 549.
Perfect.
So I'm going to go ahead and set it up the way that you said. And that's $10 in the field, correct?
Yes.
All right, so we now have $95 in play. Obviously, what's here could be almost considered a wash within $5. But tell me how you came up with the odds that you were using either the other night or that we're going to use in this example.
Well, I would do it now because the maximum odds would be 360. Okay, in this scenario, we've got to cover our bases for whatever comes. So, well, but in this case, we don't have to do. We've got to cover whatever it is, which is what 90. What's our total on our iron cross now?
Not 95 plus we're 5 over on the pass line.
Okay, so if we did 150 with the point being 9, that would pay 100 minus the 5, so that'd be 95. So would
Correct.
that'd be a wash?
It would be close enough to a wash. 150 playing 100, we would get 130. So we have 95 and 35, so it would be a wash. Yes.
Okay, cool. So I would, that would be my starting zone. And if we want to make the 7 strong, then we could bump it up to 180, which would pay 120. And that way we will show a little profit. And that's what I would be leaning towards is probably 180.
All right, so I'm going to take your 180. There's the 180 in odds to make it a little bit, make the 7 a little stronger. And now I know that in my videos I went 3 hits and changed up to some different foundation. What
Right.
what is your opinion on the other night you played it, and at one point I want to say you were up to the 5 and 9, you were 150 or 175 with, I think you had 210 on the 6 and 8 on Saturday Night Live rollout at one point. You had pressed up on that long roll I had of like 27 or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was because I figured that that it had paid for itself, and that even even if it pays for itself, then there's no harm trying to leave it out there and grow it even some more. So it's like a catch-22. Do you want? I mean, you can take the dump down, like you do sometimes, and then bring it back. But I was just thinking to myself, well, just let it go and let it resolve, and I can get the best of have my cake and eat it too, and have the best of both worlds. So that's
So
what my
so in other words, I'm being conservative and you're greedy. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
well, it's a moderate greed. So it's because I'm having it. it has to pay. It has to work on its own, and it has to be paid for, and so it's a moderate greed. You know.
All right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get some more rolls in. So I'm going to go ahead and
Sure.
roll the dice. We're set up. Once again, 85 on the place bets. We have 10 here. That makes 95. We have a 30 and a 35. We have 180, which is going to pay us 120. And we're actually on a red. We would make a little money on an early red. And then we'll talk about where I go when I would stop. And then we're going to continue to do it your way since this is the skill, the hedge dark cross. So here we go. Dice are out. And there's midnight, after midnight. Neither one of us can sing. So on my table, that pays double. It doesn't pay. It doesn't pay triple. Some tables, it does pay triple. I don't know in your area, in the St. Louis area, if it pays triple, but here it pays double. So that's a $20 win. Does it pay triple there?
Yeah, it sure does.
Wow. Well, hopefully here in the next couple of months, I will be out to see you, and I can play on a triple table, although one of the Delaware casinos has that. All right, so we've got $20 there. Nothing changes. It's just keep on rolling. Dice are out. And there's a 4-2-6. So we're going to get 35. We're going to lose the field. I'm going to pay it appropriate so nobody gets mad at us. We're going to lose the field. We're going to make 35. Going to put 10 back in the field and put 5 in the winnings. And mark that 4-2-6 up.
Give me a quarter.
Yep, okay. Just keep right on rolling. Let's see what happens. Dice are out. And there's a 5-2-7. Okay, so I think this is where a lot of people get confused because when they hear 7 or red or 7 out, whatever the dealers say at their casino, they automatically just freak out and go, oh my gosh, I've lost money. If we weren't in this position right here, we did lose some money. I mean, we would have.
Right.
So if we take this money down, and this is where a lot of people on the hybrid don't understand. I'm not going to turn the point off just yet. So we take everything that comes down. There is $130. So if we come over here and pay ourselves 30 on the flat, and there's 100. Let me go ahead and just get a green and do it so everybody can see it. There's 120. We actually made money, although we had that money paid up there. Here's our profit right here, along with $20 more. So that's our profit.
Exactly.
Yeah, all this is what I call investment. All this just comes back over here, and that's just investment. But our profit on the shooter, which is going to be, let me put the 5-2-7 and mark that out on the roll tracker. There's about a little below average roll, but how often do we actually see that? I mean, so in this case,
all the time.
You won $65. Sorry, you won $65. So we're just going to rinse and repeat.
Correct.
So let's go ahead and get things set back up. And the way that I was doing it with the 30 and 25, I understand why you want to do it the way you want to do it because of the increments of 3. And my mind doesn't specifically work like that, but it certainly does make sense. So we are actually $65 ahead on an early 7 out.
Yep.
All right, and if you did that 10 times around the table, obviously 65 times 10, 650. But you're not going to win each one of them. It's not going to go that way. You have to plan for the picked off. You have to plan for the come out 12. Which, if you read the comments, in some of them they were talking about hedging a couple bucks here. But I'm like you. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do. I just don't see the reason to do it at this level. If we were doing a 100 don't and a 150 pass line, then I may hedge to 12. That's just me.
Okay. No, I agree with you because I agree with you because it's only $1 right at this point. It's only $1, so I'm not going to sweat $30 a loss when we've already made more than that. So why sweat that? I'm not sweating that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I just want to point out that although you're kind of small on the screen, over your your left shoulder, we have somebody in the stands listening to us. Is that Joy? I can't see.
Yes, it is. Yes,
hello, Joy. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll go on to the next roll. This is going to be a come out. We're going on to shooter number 2. Dice are out. And there's a 3-2-5. So basically we have the same number, the same setup, with the exception of, and I like the way that Jacob from Wager Me This talks about, when you get the 5 on the Iron Cross, it's the best number you actually could have from a standpoint of the inside numbers. Do you share that sentiment?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Going for the dark side, of course.
Yep. All right, so I've set it up 30, 30, and 10. So there's 60, there's 70. So instead of having 95 exposed, we have $70 exposed this time. So
Right.
are you going to do the same odds over here again like you did before when it was on the 9?
No, we can drop it down to 120.
Or 150.
Yeah, or
but
150. Yeah, either way.
You actually surprised me because I thought you were going to say yes because I'm the conservative and you went my way and you're the greedy and I thought that you would keep it there.
No,
So
no,
120
yeah.
120 works for me as well. 120 will win us 90 and 90 and
No, 80.
not 80. Sorry, 80 and 30 is 110 and we have it more than covered. So I'm with you on that. Sorry. So let's go ahead and roll this out. Let's get that 325 marked up.
Perfect.
3,
Yeah,
2,
so
5.
it's like, if we don't need to throw out more money, then why do it? You know, I just want it. I want the 7 I want our right side covered with a little bit of extra juice just in case. So, but if we bang that 5, that's the big hole that we can't
Right.
get around. But I do want to address that whenever, if right now, if you don't mind, before you roll.
Sure, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
I know people are scared, scared of that, and there's one extra remedy that we can always do, and we can always hop. We can always do a hop, normally. So to cover that, we could bet. We could bet $8 on a hop on a 5, which would be I would probably choose like a 2-3, something like that.
So you're only going to hop one of them instead of both of them. You're cutting your
Exactly.
chances down by 50%.
Exactly.
All right. So which one would you like to hop?
The 2-3.
All right, my hop that's looking at here would be the 3-2. I'm pointing on my screen would be here. I'm going to put the smaller denomination 3-2 there. That side would be the 4-1. So we're actually hopping the 3-2 on this roll. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. With $8 because the $8 will pay the 120.
Yep, 1575. Yep, it would. Yep, okay. I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and roll this next roll. Dice are out.
Yes, sir.
And we have a 6-4-10. Now I'm going to take the hop down just so people can see it, and then we're going to make $10. Now, how does that affect your philosophy about what we're doing here?
If we're scared of that point, and we haven't made it yet, so I keep that hop up and consistent. That's that field. We're not in a deficit. The field is still generating a very, 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 very small profit. From $8 to 10 is 2. We're pulling back $2. So I don't care. I mean, we're looking right now. We're looking for a 6 or an 8 is what we're really looking for.
Nope. I understand that. Now me at this level, I don't know that I would do the hop 5s, but I understand the philosophy.
I just wanted to bring that point out. Is that people freak out? Is like oh my God, it's a 5. Oh my God, it's a 6. Well, you can take some of that if you're running scared with scared money. There are options, and I'm just giving you a better option that most people don't think about. So that's the only reason normally I would say no because I don't mind risking the 120 because we have the odds in our favor, but there's no guarantee. So if for people that want more peace of mind, throw the $8 out there, cover that, and you're more quote unquote protected. You have more odds in your favor to be a conservative, consistent winner.
Well, let's go ahead and move some more rolls. Dice are out, and there's a yo 11. So if we're going to leave that hop out there, that's actually going to make $2 because we got 10 in the field.
Correct.
My variation to what you're doing here is I would probably have 15 in the field, but that's just my variation. I don't think there's any wrong way of doing it here. It's whatever the player's choice is of what they would like to do.
Now, my question to you at a $10 table: when you want to bump that up to 15, are you going to also bump up and keep the 6 and 8 as a 3x?
I probably would if I was hopping.
Okay.
As you saw how I ran it earlier, I did run it at 15 on my
Right.
video with the 30, and I was making 20 instead of making 25. But let's go ahead and let's
Right.
get some more rolls in and see what happens. Maybe on the next shooter we won't hop to 5. Well, if the 5 comes back, we won't hop to 5. So let's go ahead. All right,
Okay.
dice are out, and there's a 6-1-7.
Okay.
So if we take everything down that loses,
Yep.
and we know that we made $4 at a minimum, and there's 30 on the 30 on the flat, and we are going to get 80 on the odds. Somehow we came $3 short, but I'm not really worried about $3 short. We made $4, so it's a wash again.
Okay. So if
Does that make sense?
So yes, it does. So so that in our knowledge of that quest now, if that happened again, then I would say I'm not comfortable. I don't want that tight squeeze. All right. I don't want that anaconda, squeeze. So I would be more comfortable bumping it up to 150, the odds on a 5 or 9 on that point of 5. That way it would pay 100. We would and with 100, it's not going to be with 150 at risk. Then we would bump that up to $10 on the hop. So we're increasing our. That's where the 7 is going to get stronger. Does that make?
No, I understand. I understand completely.
Okay.
Yeah, and once again, it's up to the shooters or
Right.
the player's choice. So let's go ahead and
Right.
let's get another one in, because it looks like the audience on your side is growing. Looks like there's a blonde 4-legged friend that has come up to show up.
Yeah, that's Buddy.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. 30 and 35. We're going on to shooter 3. And once again, we're not here to show that this strategy makes a lot of money. We're here to show the functionality of why of trying to explain what's happening. And we're going to have our haters and we're going to have our takers. But it's just here. Yeah, and I like it. I like it when people from both sides can cordially discuss it without getting mad at one another and calling people names. So here we go. Let me see if I get that 7 in. I did. Dice are out. And there's a hard 4. Good number for us. At least I think so. But, here on my table, 4s and 10s come, well, we're not going to say it. So let's go ahead and get set up the way that you had initially set it up before. So we're going to have 85 on the place bets, and 10 in the field makes 95. So on the odds here, 30, what are we going to take? Because we always know that we can go up to 360. I don't know that we're going to do that because it really doesn't... Well, let's think about the math. Go ahead and talk to me.
So we've got to clear over $100, right?
Correct. Yep.
So our minimum would probably jump up, since it's the 4. We've got to double that. So I would say probably 240. That's what I would be leaning towards. 240 or 300. Well, I'd probably lean towards 300, actually. Because that leaves 150.
All right, I'll go with your 300. I was okay actually doing the 200 to 240ish range, but I'm going with what you said. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we have 200 on the line. The hard 4 is entered. We've set up. Here we go. Dice are out, and we have a 6-1-7. So you did it right. See, I would have not have won as much money. There is a good dark number that we have a 0.7 out with. So we take down what wins. We take down what loses, and we go ahead and pay. We paid the $30 on the flat, and I actually have to go get some money because I don't have enough here to pay it. That's the good thing.
Oh, no.
And we're going to get paid 150 on the odds. Let me take this reds off the table. All right, so there we go. Rack it up. And if we were to count up, I'm going to say that we probably should be somewhere between $100 and $200 into profit. I'm not exactly sure exactly where, but that's where I look at the chips here. We've got well over 500 in blacks now. We have 575 in blacks, so we've got 975 in the blacks and the greens. We have almost 100 in reds there, and we have $65 here. So, you know, in that few shooters, let me put that 617 in those few shooters, you know, you can see that we haven't lost any money. And somebody that will be playing a light-sided strategy only, I say this all the time and I get busted for it because, I don't play that way, Jeff. But how many times do we see somebody on a $5 table play 22 inside, $10 table, put 44 inside, maybe catch a couple hard ways, or they do 66 inside, you know, 110, 160 across, 96 across. In this rolls that we've had right now, which is ideal for our video, by the way, the rolls that we've had, those light-sided only players would have got paid once, if they were on the 10 twice, and that's it, because of the horn numbers and the early 7 outs. So let's go on to one more shooter. We might be able to get a few more in. We're at the 36-minute mark. We wanted to do 4 shooters, and I think we've explained it, although we haven't made a lot of money. So let's go ahead and go on to at least this may be the last shooter. We'll see what happens. Dice are out. And there's a 6, 2, 8. So far we've had a 9, a 5, a 4, and an 8. So we've covered all the numbers, the combinations being sister numbers 6 and 8, 5 and 9, 4 and 10. We've covered all the numbers in this video, so that's a good thing. So in this case, if we do it this way, once again we are bouncing back down from how much exposure we have because of the 8 being one of the points. So we have 50, we have 65 exposed. Now what odds are we going to do? Let me enter the 8.
I would probably do like 120.
Okay. And the 120 is going to pay us 100, so that would be 130. But we're almost doubling what we have out there. And I think a lot of people have heartburn with that 8 and 120. And
so
right now that 120 is probably...
If you're scared of that, then we can. If you're scared of that, then we can, get a hard point to lower that. To lower that.
How much would you put on the hard way? $10 for 90.
I would probably do. Well, we're going to win. Wait, we've got total odds of 120.
So we'd win 130. We're going to win 130 on the red.
Yeah, we would need like 50. I would think either $14 or $15 on the hard on the hard way.
All right, so let's talk about the hard way. For those people that are worried about that, that's only going to take 1 out of the 5 ways that 8 can roll. But that takes our exposure to $75, and we still are going to win 130. So I'm going to put the 15 on the hard 8. That's an option you can do. I don't know, even with that much room. And we haven't talked about this, so don't shoot me. Don't shoot this messenger. We haven't even talked about a couple dollars on even hopping one of those numbers, which I'm not advocating or saying. But I think where I get to is where I hear people talk about when it's a 6 to the 8, they don't like to do anything or very little.
Right.
So if we were to put let's see here.
Once again, to counteract that, you have to go up with the odds, and you have to face that fear, because we're counteracting that fear with more combinations working. We're taking those combinations away that's going to hurt us. So we can take 2 more combinations away from hurting us by going up in odds. So in this case, I would probably. If you don't mind, I would suggest that we take it up to like 180.
So you want to take the odds to 180?
Yeah, I would like.
On my conservative side, here's what I would do, Dylan, and we're going to play the 180, and you always win because I think I beat you one time in a year. If I would actually put 60 here to win 50 and 90, and we have it covered, but you want to win on the red, where I want to just make sure I'm okay. So we're going to take your odds up to 180, which would take all of our profit away that we made, and we're going to see who's going to fare. Are we leaving the 15 on the hard 4 because that certainly doesn't have that covered now?
No, I put 20 on it, and that would cover it.
Okay, I thought you were going to say take it down totally, but that's fine.
Oh,
but that's all,
no.
20 is going to win us 180, and it's going to cover this, but that's just one out of the 5 ways that can roll. So there's a little bit of differences of opinion between you and I here. Your 120 I was okay with. The 180, I'm probably one that I don't know that I would do that, but I would do, if I played it, I would do 60 or 90. But let's see what happens. We're going to play it your way, and we'll talk about the differences if we get bad numbers.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. So just to recap for everybody, we have 180 on the odds, $30 don't, $35 pass line, 10 in the field, 30 on the 6, 25 on the 5, and we have $20 on the hard 8. And the optional between what Dylan and I think may be wrong is the hard way and the odds. But let's see what happens. Dice are out. And there is a hard 4. I got to get the stick to get that one against the, it's probably underneath your view. Oh, no, they can see it. I can't reach that far. So there's a hard 4.
Okay.
So that's going to win us $10. And since we're not hopping, that's actually a true I call it profit, but a win. It's not a profit because the hand's not over with. So we have a hard 4. Right. We have that marked up. Dice are out.
Yep.
And there's a 5, 2, 7 out. And you win again, Dylan, because you're going to make money where I would have just broken even. So let's take everything down that loses.
Including the hard way.
I pulled the hard way down. It's here. So we pay 30, and your 180 here is going to pay 150, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep, so there's, I'm going to just go ahead and grab a black chip because we're getting to the point where we might have to call this video. So I'm going to put the 150 here and take these reds off the table. And from a profit standpoint, we had, say 65, 65. We had 85 in action on the table. So if we take the 85 out, your way profited $175 on that shooter.
Okay.
So I don't know if that made sense. I think I stole some money from one side or another, but we're going to see when we rack this up and color it up, and we're going to see what happens because we certainly have more blacks than what we started with by 1, and I know we have over.
Yeah,
I know we did. Money. Yep. So let's start with the blacks. Get the greens off there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We started with 4. This is more than 500 in my hand here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the starting bankroll of $1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's 25, I should say. There's 150, 75, 81, right? 150, 100, 150, 175, 80, 186. 186 in just, let me put that 7 in there. That was a 527. And come back over and join you on the screen. 527. Okay. Let's merge back into this screen. And I'm going to bring up the chart just for a second because the video is pushing beyond the point of where we want to do. But we did get through the 4 shooters. We only have 13 rolls. We talked for 15 minutes and then we kind of rolled some stuff out and talked between it. So if we actually thought about time playing here, the video time is 45 minutes, but that's probably 13 rolls. You know, you're looking at maybe about a 20-minute roll time period, and we made money. So when somebody watches a 45-minute video and they have a tizzy fit about making peanuts when they want to make big bucks, this actually is a tool that you can have in your toolbox to be able to use. And if you look here at the chart, I'm not sure how well you can see that. You can see that obviously in 13 rolls we didn't have a lot. We had no aces or ace deucey rolled, but the 4s we had more 4s than what would be average into 13 rolls. Now I realize it's only 13 rolls, And you can see that we did have obviously four sevens. We had four red outs because we had four shooters. We had no come out sevens, which was good. It really wouldn't have hurt this strategy. It wouldn't have hurt. The horn numbers, as you can see, they were all on the high end, on the uptown side of things. And you know, the other rolls were well below average. And if you take a look at this table, this was a dark side table in 13 rolls with four shooters. We had an SOR combined of all four shooters. I know some people don't like to use the SOR because that's the shooter's SOR, but we're combining this into the table with the SOR and the SRR, the 7-roll ratio, out at 3.3. So anybody on the light side would have lost their 44, 66, 96, 110, 160 across 4 different times and made very little money, and their $1,000 bankroll would have taken a big hit. Where fortunately for this video, we got the right rolls. It doesn't always work that way. But, you know, I think that the explanation is good, and what I would like to do is I would like to end this video, and then you and I pick right back up with the bankroll that we have right here and continue with another video. Do you mind doing that?
Sure. I'd love that.
All right, so just hang in there. You probably know how this works, guys. Let me get this graphed off the screen, and I really appreciate your time today. Anybody that has any questions, you can put them in the comments, and you can email me at jeff@midatlanticcraps.com. And Dylan, I don't know that, is your email on your Skill and Luck website? Do you have an email that they can contact you?
It's not, I don't believe it's on there. I don't think my son's put it on there. I know they
could send it to me and I could get it to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it's okay. All right. Well, it's no big deal. I mean,
yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that in the next video. Yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here. We're at the 45-minute mark, guys. This is Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps. Till next time, and we are coming back with Dylan from Skill Luck. On behalf of Skill Luck and on behalf of Jeff at Mid-Atlantic Craps, as always, please be safe and play smart.